movies. You were on back in June, and at that point, Strays had just moved from June to August, but we all were on board with Strays is going to be the breakout comedy hit. You were on the No Hard Feelings episode about the J-Law movie, and that did okay, kind of underperformed, but it did fine. But we thought Strays was going to be the big comedy one. You had insider info. Harry Minihane had loved the trailer, went bananas for it.
Yep.
So let's start off with, did Harry Minihane end up seeing this movie this weekend? I know you don't want to ask a personal question here, but did Harry see this movie?
No, it's fine. So this is exactly what I was going to say. I remember going on here talking about Harry. Strays comes out this. It's amazing how the world works. Wednesday, Thursday this week, I said to Harry, "Hey, that movie Strays coming out this week, and you want to see it?" Nah, I don't really want to see it. Like, I don't know what happens, but like collectively, everybody just bailed on it. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it works. It's a wild thing, but like, and you know what? I do think, I mean, it's wild. Ninja Turtles beat it this weekend, and it's third. Like, I think Ninja Turtles kind of ran it over. In some ways, and I just think, like, I heard you guys talk about this. I think it was last week or the week before. There was zero. I understand there's a strike going on, but I'm just talking advertising. Zero promotion the last few weeks. It was a super soft advertising push heading into it this week. You wouldn't have known it was coming out.
Yeah, I mean, that is damning right there. That you asked Harry, do you want to see it? And he had no interest. Did he see a different movie? Did he just not see a film this weekend? Just didn't care.
We saw, he's a huge horror guy, even though we saw Insidious a few weeks ago. And we still have not seen
Talk to Me.
Talk to Me yet. We haven't seen that. That's what we're gonna go see.
Okay.
Wound up not seeing it, but he even said that he's 11 years old, and there's 50 million things going on. But he said, "What is that again?" That to me is the obituary for Strays. What is that again? And if it was released in June, we would have seen it opening weekend.
That's the big one. I mean, and Clayton, if you want to jump in and talk on this, on the last episode with David Thompson of The Direct, we talked about how it seemed like the big mistake was moving this at all from June to August. That in June, people were ready. People saw the trailers. Clayton mentioned that those trailers were all over the NBA playoffs in May and early June. And then 2 months later, and you got Harry Minihane saying, "What is that? I don't remember what that is."
It's one of those things where, you're a running back and you're looking for an opening, and then there's a few there, and then you wait too long, and all of a sudden you're on your butt and you're sacked for a loss, or tackled for a loss. I'm trying to do the sports thing, as you can tell.
Right.
But you're tackled for a loss, and that's what happened here, is that this should have come out when it was at its highest peak of just like cultural knowledge, or like people understanding that it was coming out. And I felt it myself, even as a box office pundit. I thought this had already come out, and then I was like, okay, that's right, August. It's coming out in August. But it just, the run up to this was too long for a funny dog movie.
Right. Yeah, they lost all that momentum, and they kind of bet on in June moving out to August, because at that point there was the writer's strike, so there's no late night talk shows. And they figured, all right, by August, this will be settled, and you can have Will Ferrell go on the late night shows, Jamie Foxx go on the late night shows, sit down with Johnny, sit down with Dave, promote the movie. And they, in a worse situation where now there's the SAG strike and the actors couldn't promote this at all. I mean, Kirk, do you think that Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx being able to promote would Harry Minihane, not to put it on him, but he's a representative of America. That kid,
I think
he's
more
America.
Harry, if it had been more Mr. Beast maybe than Will Ferrell, maybe it's a different or Logan Paul, as you want to say. But also we don't know if Jamie Foxx is alive or not, right? I mean, isn't there like 14 Jamie Foxxes? I mean, that's also a factor. Who knows?
It doesn't help.
But I just think, I just feel like when it got released, to Clayton's point, I think that was sort of, didn't this come out 3 weeks ago? And it just felt like it got swallowed by 5 or 6 other movies, and it just felt limp. Like, I don't even know. Put it this way, like, I have no idea what the critical reaction was to it. Even was it awful? I didn't even read like a review. I have no idea.
Yeah, it seemed middling. So I think the critical reaction in June wouldn't have been what helped it, but there was that moment where people were laughing at the trailer and
it was funny. Yeah.
Knew it existed, which in August they don't know it exists right now, and you didn't have the situation where Harry responds to Mr. Beast, but Will Ferrell's not allowed to do a stunt with Mr. Beast right now.
That's true.
And if you had Will Ferrell and Mr. Beast, and the dog from Strays is peeing on Will Ferrell, and Mr. Beast is throwing baloney at him, I don't know what Mr. Beast does, but you figure it out.
Why? But I mean, why couldn't they have more commercials though? Why is it on YouTube? And when I'm watching them on YouTube, why am I not seeing a commercial for Strays last week?
Yeah. Well,
did they just know they had a stiff on their hands? I don't know.
It's one of those things where they could have seen the tracking and been like, are we going to throw good money after bad here? And so talking about Will Ferrell and hanging with dogs and doing promotion, apparently not San Diego, but another Comic-Con. Did he do Comic-Con? He wasn't there for Comic-Con, was he, Pat?
No, by Comic-Con, there were no actors allowed.
So a previous con, I guess, one of the cons, maybe it was CinemaCon, Will Ferrell did a funny bit with a dog to promote this movie. But that was, again, a long time ago. So people were like, oh, Will Ferrell did that thing with that dog. That was like 3 months ago. Right. So you got to do the thing with the dog now. And I know he can't because of the strikes and things like that. But still, you should have released it right after he did the funny thing with the dog that everybody liked.
Right. Yeah. And they couldn't do anything with these. I mean, the dogs are non-union, but the dogs are kind of useless in on late night shows or on internet shows or on Kirk Minihane show. Mm-hmm. Will Ferrell, if it wasn't for the strike, could have went on the Kirk Minihane show last week. Sure. Told everyone Strays, but you're not having this dog on.
No, I can't. I don't work with dogs or with kids. That's the oldest rule in the book. You just don't do it. It doesn't work.
You're a professional.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Tomato meter, I know, listen, we're not critics, and the tomatoes can do what they do. 55%. So, not terrible, but not great. And then audience score 73%. So not over the moon for the audience score great. Either. Yeah.
I saw this film today, and I tried to go see a showing at one theater that I thought that's where I was going to see it. And that theater canceled morning of both of its showings because both of them had sold 0 tickets.
Is that true? 0?
0 tickets. The movie theater in Cobble Hill on Court Street in Brooklyn, 0 tickets sold for 2 showings in the afternoon. Had to take my business to the Alamo Draft House in Brooklyn. There was about 10 of us in there in a giant auditorium. Jesus. And you had a waiter going around serving food to 10 people. It was sad. Pathetic for everyone. Yeah. And the people there liked it. We all liked it. I sat next to someone who really liked it and seemed shocked by everything in a pleasant way. But I don't know if he knew it was going to be an R-rated talking dog movie, because when they started cursing, he was like, whoa. But everyone seemed to like it. But it's a comedy. And when you see a comedy with 10 people, that's not going to create a buzz. No one's coming out of there having such a great experience that they're going to really talk about how you have to go see it, because it does feel sad to be in that situation.
Yeah. I had the same experience with No Hard Feelings. It was like 8 people in the theater, and it was funny. But it was, it just sucks the life out of it. It's a weird experience. Yeah.
When you're in a theater with 8 people and that beach scene happens, are people laughing, or are people starting to see they're in a room with only 8 people? It starts to feel like a, RAP, but a Pee Wee Herman situation more than a big comedy.
Right. Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. It was sort of, I think everybody collectively thought, oh, everyone was doing the same thing. Oh, is that actually her? Oh, that is actually her. We sort of all had that same moment. Yeah. And I give her credit. I mean, she stepped up. She definitely went for it. But yeah, I think that's sort of when I was on last time, we were talking about comedies, and, will comedies come back? I mean, is Barbie a comedy? I mean, I guess it is, but
it's a comedy plus,
right.
That's the thing. Yeah. So comedies, pure comedies, which I would say Strays was, and Pat would say it's comedy plus dogs, but there's been dogs in comedies before.
Oh, I would say Strays is a comedy. Yeah. You're going because it's a comedy.
Will Ferrell and
yeah. So it's a straight up comedy, and it's that and the Art House have not come back from COVID. And like I said in the previous episode, comedies have been struggling since pre-COVID. Since 2017, 2018, 2019.
Yeah. Joyride too. Yeah, people are just not. They're just not going.
Yeah.
We talk about. They're just. That is I think now you can say that's essentially dead in the movie. People are just. Because that's going to wind up. I have no idea where Strays is going to wind up. But let's say it winds up on Netflix. Maybe #1 on Netflix for like 4 days. I have no idea what that means. Like I don't know what what that means, but that's what
Right.
and they'll say that's a hit, and they'll say 226 million people watched it or something, and it's probably bullshit, but that's going to be what happens.
So Strays will be landing on the cock.
Oh,
Yeah, the cock will be taking some strays because it is a Universal movie.
I assume you guys have both canceled your Peacocks because of this war, right? That you're in right now, or no?
You know, we're letting the lawyers handle it right now, Kirk. And I know you've had different situations with different
I've been
people
in front of the Massachusetts Supreme Court. Yeah, I have actually. It's actually true. Yeah.
So there, and you let the lawyers handle it, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, this sort of, what was it? The Rock and Sock Connection? Is that what he was in for a while, years ago as a wrestler?
Yes.
But yeah. Now it's the
Rock and Sock?
I would say the Rock and Block Connection. I mean, he's blocking you guys. No, I mean,
we're getting rock blocked.
Yeah, you're getting rock blocked. I mean, this is artistic freedom. The Rock is getting in the way. This is a guy who's always talking about, once upon a time I was making 20 cents, whatever his company's name is, $3 or something.
Yeah.
It's a fucking cheat day at 97 donuts today.
Yeah,
He's two scrappy guys trying to break down box office, and he's rock blocking you guys.
Yeah,
you can't let that happen.
Yeah. We're The Rock 30 years ago. That's what the BO boys are now.
Right.
And instead of putting the hand out, lifting us up, he's trying to kick us back down because he doesn't want to lose his spot.
Yeah, he smells. Yeah, he smells what you're cooking. He knows what's coming.
I mean, what do you have advice? We're in the fight of our lives right now.
Yeah.
The Rock and Peacock are trying to stop the BO boys on YouTube before we can monetize, before we could,
right,
become giants in the industry. And you've been there. You've had people trying to censor you.
Question.
So what advice do you have? I mean, obviously we got to fight. We know that.
I mean, I think that's the thing. I think you have to be as vocal as you can. I don't think you can let loud voices silence you. That's what they're going to try and do. He's going to try and intimidate you. He's a muscular guy. He's a famous guy. He's a big star. You can't. You got to look at him as your equal. You guys are equal. You're both human beings, the three of you. And you have to go into that and to looking at that way. Don't acquiesce to him. I mean, let's be honest. The movies have been shit the last couple of years anyway.
Yep.
So just say, listen, I'm equal. I will say this. Okay. Let's look at your production and what you've done the last couple of years versus the production of what he's done. What's been better, the BO boys in 2023 or fucking Dwayne Johnson's box office? I mean, what are we doing here?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We need a competition.
Right.
Compare. Come on with you guys. I don't even get it.
Compare Black Adam to what we did in July, where I was traveling around the world. I was in different cities every episode. Clayton was holding it down. He was broadcasting from deep in the dirt.
Thelma and Louise.
And we pulled those productions off. Meanwhile, The Rock's last movie was Black Adam.
Right, that's it. He was trying to tell me it's the most profitable movie ever made. Just lying to his people right now. It's sad. It's sad to see.
Right. And you know what? The Rock, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but in the last year, Kirk Minihane didn't reach out to The Rock and say, hey guys, big fan, love to work with you. That didn't happen.
No, definitely no, definitely did not. No. If you said to me right now, you could be in The Rock's next movie, or you can actually be a BO boy, this is not even a conversation. It's not even, and that would never. By the way, don't miss. I would never ask that. That's rude.
Right.
I shouldn't do that. I apologize for even bringing up the scenario.
Let's
just say you were on a bike in France and you broke your neck or something. You died, God forbid. Or one of those old ladies, thought you were attacking and sprayed you and you died or something.
Right.
I would step in if asked, but I would never. I would never, if The Rock, never, not in the fucking, I would never be in Black Adam 2 or whatever, Jumanji 7. No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But the point is, long story, you guys are equals. At best for him, you guys are equals. That's what I would say.
At best. Yeah. Well, right now we're sort of at that point where he's going down, we're going up, we're connecting. And that is going to last like maybe 2 or 3 more episodes of our show. And then by that point, we're past him. Yeah. Totally.
He's shaking the ladder when we're trying to climb up and he's going down. It's like, that's rude. That's rude. Do you think we would help him if he wasn't trying to shake the ladder?
No question. Do you guys think in today's market that, because it was kind of one of the last successful comedy teams, if there was a Rock Kevin Hart movie out like 2 weeks from now and it looked kind of funny, would people go see it like in today's, or is it just, does it feel like that's a streaming movie?
I was going to say that's a great question.
If it's not Jumanji, I'm saying if it's Jumanji, it's different. It's a franchise. If it's just they did, what was it like?
Central Intelligence.
Yeah, the CIA, right? Like if they made a movie like that where whatever, The Rock was getting married to Kevin Hart's like sister or something, some stupid
Mhm.
comedy. Would that make
Right.
35 million opening weekend, or would it make like 12?
Definitely not.
It
8
would.
million? Like 14 million? Or
I do think Kevin Hart too has hurt his brand by doing so many streaming
stuff,
movies the last 4 or 5 years that basically people look at Kevin Hart as a guy who does streaming movies, commercials, and cameos in like Ryan Reynolds movies. They don't look at him as a guy anymore, and he was a
huge.
movie star. And
Yeah.
I think now if people saw a commercial for something with The Rock and Kevin Hart, they would assume it's on streaming.
That's the big one. That it didn't even have to go to streaming for people to think it's gonna be streaming. So by the time it actually is streaming, they're like, "Oh, there was that thing."
Right.
Because
Right.
yeah, Kevin Hart has relegated himself, and The Rock, he's doing an Amazon. What is this Red? The other Red movie he's doing,
Not Red Scare. That's
Red
something
Notice?
else.
yeah,
Is that-
doing for Amazon where
He did Red Notice, the
Right.
Red One. This is
Oh, right,
The Rock
yeah,
is doing
yeah,
the
right,
Red One,
Right.
which he doesn't call a movie. He calls it a
franchise
franchisable.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, he calls it an immediate franchise because it starts as merch, Amazon content, and then there was some other vertical to it. But he will not call this a movie. He won't even call his movies anymore.
Now, isn't it just a catalog for Amazon products? Did you tell me this, Pat, that you're going to be able to order from Amazon while watching this movie?
Oh, that's
It's
this movie, right?
interactive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's in catalogs now. He's in video catalogs.
Yeah. He's like a woman who's in a Kmart catalog.
Yeah.
Like that's what The Rock is now. And yeah, because his next movie, the whole idea is he's Santa Claus or someone in a Santa Claus, and you could buy the things in Santa Claus sack. That's what I've gleaned from different articles about this movie. I mean, does that seem appealing to you at all, Kirk?
No, but final piece of advice on this thing is, you guys are being overly cynical about this Rock movie.
Mhm.
Okay.
Don't spike the ball. Like, be sort of magnanimous about it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's sort of be like, oh, there's a chance it could work, but down deep, it's going to bomb, so you can shit on them.
Yeah,
But
that's
like,
a professional way to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way I would do it with an enemy at first. I'd be like, look, maybe they have a point. We'll read it. We'll see what it looks like. I just don't think it's going to be great, but what do I know? And then it's going to be bad. So then you can, when you spike the ball, eventually people will be like, oh, you know what? A couple months ago, they had an open mind about this. Boy, they really handled that well.
I love it. I mean, this is Sermon from the Mount.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm here for. Yeah.
Teachings from the Book of Kirk.
Yes.
So on Strays, wrapping up just on that movie. I mean, do any of us think that this has anywhere up to go? I mean, this is a terrible opening weekend, 8.3. I feel like this is going to fall off a cliff, and probably not. Honestly, I don't think this gets to 20 million when all's said and done. I think this movie is going to wrap up in the teens. Is there any hope for this to take off?
I think zero. I mean, people know it's a stinker now because of how bad it did. There's no urge to see this. Kids are back in school, so they're going to be moving on to other stuff.
Right.
And this is going to be dropping on the cock in 17 days, probably.
Yeah.
So before you know it, it's going to be there.
Yeah, probably like 2.8 million, 3 million or something next weekend. So like, no way it's not going to get to 20 million. I mean, I know these, animated movies sometimes have, but this is not that kind of movie where it's going to have legs, where kids are going to go see it 3 times, or mom's going to drag no chance. No. This is
not Elemental. I mean, Elemental is one of the stories of the summer, had a great leggy run, but Strays is not going to be that. Though I will say there was maybe a 6 or 7-year-old who was brought into the theater that I was in today, and his parents did not leave with him, so he watched this entire movie. That listen, is it a spoiler to say that a dick gets eaten in this movie? So this kid saw that.
Oh, it did happen. Okay, yeah, that was a line that Harry loved so much in the trailer. So yeah, okay. There you go.
I mean, let Harry know they do deliver it. So if that was intriguing to him, he will see it. And I gotta say, Will Forte gives one of the most, and we're not critics, one of the most egoless performances I've ever seen in a movie, where he is a pure villain, disgusting person the entire time, no redeeming qualities, does try to kill dogs at the end, and gets dick bit off. It's one of the I've never seen a performance in a big screen movie where someone is just that awful and demeaned the entire time. So kudos to him. It's a shame that this will not make him into a Jim Carrey type actor,
Right.
though.
That tied to my final thought on movie comedies, because I was thinking of this as well with these guys, is every 5 or 6 years, even more frequently than that, when I was in high school and on, you would have an SNL sketch or an SNL breakout star. And that
Mhm.
now that show is essentially, dead. I mean, in terms of having huge stars, that pipeline has gone too in movie comedies where, Farley, Sandler, Myers, Wayne's World itself,
Mhm.
every Farrell, even Tina Fey, every couple of years, somebody would, that hasn't happened in forever. So that's, I think, part of it too. I think it's another reason why these things are sort of slowly, not a huge factor, but I think part of it.
Yeah, I mean, Clayton, you and I, we actually went to see a comedy show in New York the other day. We saw an SNL current cast member, Sarah Sherman, who's
AKA
sort of
Sarah
the
Squirm.
breakout star in the current
Mhm.
cast. Saw her
Yep.
do her live show. It was great. It was, it was disgusting. It was great. And she's someone who, of course, as soon as me and Clayton experience anything in life, the first thing we do is talk box office. And we talked about how someone like her, there is no,
Zero.
now she's going to get a movie.
Yeah.
Y-
I mean,
you
the
know,
truth is she could walk down the street and probably not get recognized that much. Like
right, right,
in wherever, Oklahoma City or something,
right,
or Boise,
right,
where Will Ferrell was super famous. Mike
right,
Myers was Chevy Chase was insanely famous. So
right,
Mhm.
yeah, you're right. Like she's really funny, and she'll wind up on some show on streaming and it'll get good reviews, and that'll be it.
right, right. Yeah, you're not going to have your Wayne's World or your Ladies Man type
Right.
movies anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the problem with what happened with SNL is that it gums up the works, right? Because what's supposed to happen is you start there, you get some buzz, or you don't, you fail, you disappear, or you find another avenue, or you go into movies. And then that goes for as long as it can go. And like you said, that stopped happening. I mean, Kristen Wiig had a good career. Sudeikis had a really good career
Mhm.
going as a big screen comedy guy. And Andy Samberg never really could get it together to really be the big screen guy, although the movies that he made were really funny, him and The Lonely Island. But then this cast that was just previous, they all were Kate McKinnon, Cicely Strong. They never were able to have any sort of movie success because comedy films started not being what people wanted to see. And now they're, like you said, relegated to streaming. And, Kate McKinnon's in Barbie, but if she wasn't in that, she would be out of the cultural conversation completely.
So, yeah, that is the state of comedy.